Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I'm your teacher Simin Amir, and today I'm here with a new lecture. I hope everything is going well at your side. So let's proceed to the lecture. This is my lecture number 10 for grade 7 Geography. So today we are going to start chapter number 3, which is water resources. In the previous lecture, we learned about the water supply and the distribution of world's water. We learned that about 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and the Earth is known as the blue planet. If we take the this water only, so 97% of the water is ocean water or sea water, which is a salt water. Only 3% is the fresh water. The seawater is not safe for human consumption or for agriculture. So only this 3% is safe for our human consumption and for agriculture. If we take only the fresh water, so 79% of that water is stored in ice sheets and glaciers. 20% of this water is stored as underground. And only 1% of this fresh water is found on the surface in rivers, streams, and lakes. We also learned that there are some factors that can affect the supply of clean, fresh water. As we know that 70% of Earth is covered with water, and the Earth is called as blue planet because of plenty of water on it. So why there is a crisis of water, of fresh water everywhere? So then we learned that there are certain factors that can affect the supply of water in different areas. The first one was the precipitation, and I told you that precipitation is unevenly distributed throughout the world. In some area there are plenty of water, as there plenty of rainfall, and in some area, some of the areas are completely dry. So precipitation means the water that is falling back from the sky to the earth, and it may be in the form of rainfall, in a form of snowfall, in a form of hailing. The second thing was the climate change. And climate has a significant impact on water resources as there is a close connection between climate and the supply of water. An increase in temperature means higher evaporation and hence increase in precipitation. Then was the pollution. Pollution can reduce the supply of clean fresh water. Air pollution will lead to contamination or contamination of rainwater, such as acid rain, or maybe the pollution may affect the water bodies. So that's how the clean fresh water is reduced due to the pollutants. Then is the change in the use of land. We know that the forest acts like a sponge. It is soaking up rainwater while anchoring the soil. When a forest cover is cleared by deforestation, the rainwater runs off rapidly into rivers and streams, increasing the water level and which will lead to flooding in those areas. Also, deforestation will reduce the level of evapotranspiration. I have told you that evapotranspiration is a process in which the trees releases water into the atmosphere and that water is evaporated and giving us the precipitation. Then I've told you that some of the lands due to this excessive deforestation or due to excessive grazing of animals, some of the lands are turned into desertification. In the previous lecture, we also learned about the reasons for the rising demand of water, that why we need more and more water in different areas. The first one was the population growth. And you know that the world's population grew rapidly since the 1960s. So when there are more people on earth, obviously they will need more water. They will need water for consumption, they will need water for cleaning, they will need water for domestic use, they will need water for growing food. So agriculture is again, if with the growing population, obviously we need to grow more food. We need to rear more animals. And for this purpose, we need more water. So that is, the need is agriculture. So about 69% of fresh water is used for agriculture worldwide. And then industrialization um, is the third reason. Water is needed in power plants and factories for cooling of engines and machinery. Water is also being used as a power resource in hydroelectric power plant. So huge volume of water is used to work massive turbines in order to produce electricity. So ensuring water supply, this is on page number 37, and today's the topic is ensuring water supply. How can we ensure the supply of clean fresh water to everywhere? So that is the first thing is water catchment area. We have to check on water catchment area. A catchment is an area where water is collected by the natural landscape. We use the water collected by the natural landscape to help supply water for our needs by building dams and reservoirs or tapping into underground water. This is called the water supply system. Water catchment is an area where all the water, sediments, and dissolved minerals drain into a common outlet. A stream, river system, reservoir, underground aquifer, or other body of water. Cities with their networks of storm sewers, canals, and rivers are also catchment areas. Like the water which is going out from the domestic use into a sewage system, or even the canals and even the rivers are also the catchment areas. We all live in a catchment area. The water that is used for drinking is from the rivers or reservoirs in a catchment area. The type of land use, farming or urban development, and the associated activities have a direct impact on the water quality of the catchment. For example, the clearing of trees will result in greater amount of sediments into the river system. So that will actually affect the uh, quality of the water, that will contaminate the water and will reduce the capacity of the catchment area. The water that we get at our home is coming from the catchment areas. So careful management of the catchment areas ensure that the water quality remains at a healthy level. Most countries have catchment areas management plans to maintain the quality and supply of water. Like here in Bahria town, we have a filtration system. The water is coming from the catchment areas to the filter system, and then we are collecting water from the filtration plant. In some countries, the catchment area is the part of a nature reserve where activities are limited and closely monitored. Like people are creating pollution there, so that is carefully monitored by the government authorities. They are limiting the people uh, from going to these water bodies. This is to ensure that there is as little pollution as possible so that the water that drains into the reservoir, river system, or the underground aquifer is of good quality. Even there should be a check on the underground water. Like the underground water near the industrial areas are not safe for drinking because there's a seepage of the toxic materials, there's a seepage of the oil and the pollutants that goes underground water and contaminating that water. This is to ensure that there is as little pollution as possible so that the water that drains into the reservoir, river system, or underground aquifer is of good quality. In urban catchment areas, it is even more important to monitor the types of activities as industries and households contribute significantly to pollution of water. In the land scarce country such as Singapore. Land scarce country mean where there's a scarcity of land. There's a limitation of land. They do not have much land. So countries like Singapore, for example, every drop of water is channeled into the canals or rivers. Measures such as solid waste management, soil erosion management, and cleaning up of waterways to ensure the water collected in the reservoir is reasonably clean are implemented. Polluted water would require more purification before it is suitable for consumption. With careful management of the catchment areas, more water can be collected and less of it is wasted. I have told you that about 70% of the earth is covered with water. And in this water, 97% of water is seawater. So we have plenty of water around, but we cannot use it for human consumption and for agriculture. So the need is to remove salt from this water. For this purpose, we are doing desalination. And desalination is another way to ensure the supply of clean, fresh water. Now, the topic is ensuring water supply, and the first one was to check the water catchment areas, and now there is a process of desalination. Desalination is a process that takes away mineral components from saline water. More generally, desalination refers to the removal of salts and minerals from a target substance as in soil desalination, which is an issue for agriculture also. Desalination is the removal of salt in seawater through distillation or using membrane filtration. This method has been used on ships and submarines for a long time. In distillation, the seawater is heated and allowed to cool. The water vapors condenses to form fresh water. In the membrane method, water molecules are forced through a semi-permeable membrane. The salt molecules cannot pass through the membrane and are left behind. What comes through the membrane is fresh water. So two methods are discussed here. One is distillation and one is um, membrane system. Distillation is using membrane or filtration, and in desalination, we are heating the water. In distillation, we are heating the water, and when the water vapor condenses and the water vapor rise up, so salt will left behind. And in the membrane method, water molecules are forced through a semi-permeable membrane. So the water passes through this permeable membrane. So this salt will left behind and it is unable to pass the membrane. So what comes through the membrane is only the fresh water. Desalination has been gaining popularity, but it is expensive as it involves expensive equipment and has high energy requirement. Much energy is needed to evaporate the seawater in the distillation method. The membrane filtration method uses slightly less energy, but its cost is still high for many countries. And countries like Pakistan is unable to manage these kind of expenses. So we do not have any distillation or desalination plant in Pakistan, but now the government is planning to open one desalination plant in Karachi area. This is a desalination plant in Australia. And in your book on figure 3.8, page 38, is a desalination plant in Dubai. The desalination plants uses a reverse osmosis process. The filtered seawater is then forced under pressure through special membranes whereby the osmosis process that normally occurs in the nature is reversed. The third way of ensuring clean water supply is reclaiming water. Reclaimed or recycled water is the process of converting wastewater into water that can be reused for other purposes. This reused water may include irrigation of gardens and agriculture fields or replenishing surface water and groundwater. The water that we use for washing at home runs down the drain pipe and into the sewers. In some countries, however, the used water is no longer gone to waste in the sewer as technology has enabled the water to be reclaimed. Reclamation of water has been practiced in Europe and the USA for about 20 years. Reclaiming means that the water can be purified to remove the solid materials, bacteria, and other impurities, and the water can thus be used again. This water reduces the pressure on freshwater supply. The reclaimed water can be purified to various degrees of purity. Reclaimed water that has gone through only the initial stages of purification cannot be used for drinking, but can be used for industrial and agricultural purposes. In some parts of the United States of America, the reclaimed water is used to replenish underground aquifers. Reclaimed water can also be purified to potable standards that are fit for drinking. In land-scarce Singapore, a small percentage of reclaimed water is added to the reservoir water. So, when we are reclaiming water and we are recycling this water to purify, to remove the solid material and bacteria and other impurities, so even then it is not safe for human consumption. So for if we want to make it safe for our use for human consumption, we have to give it a therapy of some chemicals. So now on page number 40, the last topic is water conservation. Water conservation means saving of water. It includes all the policies, strategies, and activities to sustainably manage the natural resources of fresh water, to protect the hydrosphere, and to meet the current and future human demand. Wasting water has become a significant environmental problem, both at consumer and industrial level. Hence, it has become important for individuals and businesses alike to find out ways to reduce the wastage of water and conserve it. The water conservation simply refers to reducing the usage of water and recycling wastewater for different purposes, such as cleaning, manufacturing, and agriculture irrigation. This method definitely accounts as the most efficient and cost-effective way to control the use of water. So there are different ways to conserve water, as conserving water is important because it keeps water pure and clean while protecting the environment. So the first way is education. Through education, we can conserve the water. Many countries have tried to bring the message of the importance of water to the public through education, especially in schools. Education is one of the best ways to reach out to the public. In many countries, water resources education and conservation form part of the school curriculum. As you have in your book, this is the part of your syllabus, this is the part of your curriculum. So in many countries, this is the part of school curriculum. It is aimed at educating school children about good stewardship of the earth's resources. It is everybody's business to ensure that resources are used carefully and in a responsible manner so that future generations are able to enjoy and use these resources. So it means that this is your duty as well. You have to keep check on the running water in your home. While brushing your teeth, you have to turn off the tap. While washing dishes, you have to turn off the tap. So you have to take care of your home. You have to take care of your water. By using technology, we can save the water. Many water saving devices have been invented to help the households and industries to reduce water usage and wastage. At home, for example, taps and toilet flushes can be fitted with water saving gadgets. Since agriculture uses most of the fresh water, efforts have been channeled into research to nurture crops that require less water to grow and flourish. So we have to cultivate those crops that require less water. There have been improvements in irrigation technology to reduce water wastage during irrigation. Irrigation is the artificial supply of water to the crops or to anywhere. So there are lots of water wastage during these processes, especially in the canal irrigation. If the canals are not lined, most of the water is seeped underground, which will lead to waterlogging and salinity, and that is a problem um, which can damage the land. Much water is lost during irrigation, especially when it involves spraying of water. Start your water saving from your home. Shorten your shower by a minute or two, and you will save up to 150 gallons per month. Monitor your water bills for unusually high use. Your bill and water meter are tools that can help you discover leaks. Grab a wrench and fix that leaky faucet. It's simply inexpensive and you can save 140 gallons a week. Teach children to turn off faucets tightly after each use. Turn off the water while brushing your teeth. This will, on the average, save 3 gallons of water for each time you brush. You can conserve water also in the outdoors. Use a bucket of water to clean your car instead of a hose. Sweep sidewalks, driveways, and patios instead of hosing. Clean gutters and downspouts manually without using a hose. Cultivate the soil regularly so water can penetrate and develop a good root system. You can play your part in saving water with these simple tips. Monitor your water bills regularly. Take shorter showers, and you can wash your veggies in a filled sink. When you're washing your clothes, use a full load wash. You can reuse some of the water, like boiled pasta water, or something else. Like you can use the cleaning water, the water that is used for a mopping. You can throw it into your flushing. Please repair leaks promptly and use the policy of half flush. So we are done with the chapter. For recap, let me give you a glance here. We are done with the water supply, and we know that 97% is seawater, only 3% is fresh water, and in 3%, if we take that 100% of fresh water, 79% is stored in ice sheets and glaciers, 20% is stored as groundwater, and only 1% is the surface water of rivers, lakes, and streams. And there were some factors affecting the supply of clean fresh water, that is the precipitation, the rainfall, the climate change, pollution, and change in the land use. And reasons for rising demand for water is the rising population growth. And with this population growth, we need more agriculture, and obviously we are going towards the technology, so that is industrialization. And then ways to increase water supply, the management of catchment areas, the desalination, which is the removal of salt from seawater, water reclamation, the recycling or reuse of the water, water conservation through education and technological advancement. So here is your assignment. What is the first question is what is desalination? And the answer is this desalination is the process of removing dissolved salts from water, thus producing fresh water from seawater or brackish water. Brackish water means the water that contains salt. Here's your second question. Describe at least 10 ways to conserve water. I'm going to give you, I think, 7 to 8 points here, but try to create your own points, or you can add two of your own points. But if you want to change the wordings, or if you want to write these statements in your own words, you can. So the first one is when washing dishes by hand, don't let the water run while rinsing. And run your clothes washer and dishwasher only when they are full. Some refrigerators, air conditioner, and ice makers are cooled with wasted flows of water. Consider upgrading with air-cooled appliances for significant water savings. And adjust sprinklers so only your lawn is watered and not the house, sidewalk, or street. Plant in the fall when conditions are cooler and rainfall is more plentiful. Use the garbage disposals sparingly. Compost vegetable food waste instead and save gallons every time. And water your lawn and gardens in the morning or evening when temperatures are cooler to minimize evaporation. Wash your fruits and vegetables in a pan of water instead of running water from the tap. Thank you so much, dear students, for watching this video. Um, uh, I'll come again with a new video in which I'll bring lengthy questions of this chapter for you. Please do these two questions in your notebook. Make a margin line. Must write today's day and date and maintain your index. Till then, bye.